What I'm talking about is the Académie study that we did for the Australian Academy of Technology and Engineering. And we looked at whether we were ready, whether the country was ready for new technologies, and especially in the health area. And so we did a lot of round tables, we consulted very widely. I was part of that committee. And we looked at whether we were ready in terms of ethics, social acceptance, and the sort of structures within government. And so what we found was that a lot of the new technologies that were coming through, we weren't quite ready. The ethics, actually, we were almost ready. But there were a lot of other areas where we were not ready. We were recommending to the government that there were things that we needed to do. And some of those were things like getting interoperability between the states of health records and health information. And that's really difficult in Australia. This is a structural issue. We wanted to have telehealth because we've got people living in really remote areas. Australia has 26 million people in a huge country, a whole continent. So we needed to have equity in healthcare. And so there were these sorts of recommendations we were making to the government. And COVID actually changed a few things. We'd been talking to the government for some time about telehealth, for instance, and that was then available for during COVID. And so that some of the changes that came then during COVID were recommendations that we were making. I'm involved with a lot of the startup companies, so I see a lot of wonderful new technologies coming through. I'm going to mention two in my talk. One of them is a digital technology that's picking up how you do clinical trials and how the recruitment is managed. And it provides a lot more information than the present method, which is more telephoning people and looking at it's sort of just trying to get eligibility from a telephone call, whereas this curates the patients for the trial. So it makes a big difference. But that technology isn't really ready because the doctors are not ready. They don't like having their patients pulled from under them to send them to a trial in another hospital. So there are structural things that need to change with these technologies. And so another one was a genetic technology where the founder really wanted to provide people with healthcare information to keep them healthy. And the world wasn't ready for it. And the doctors in particular weren't trained in ethics, they weren't trained in, not ethics of genetics, they weren't trained in genetics either. And so they were skeptical of the technology. And so the people that took it up were naturopaths. So there are issues with new technologies as they come through. But I think we heard one of the big issues and the big new breakthroughs that needs to happen is in the biomanufacturing, and then we heard that this morning. Well, in terms of ethics, we found with one of these companies, the genetics company, we had a lot of worry about whether we would find things incidentally that we should report on. And so we specifically didn't look for technology, we didn't look for the genes that cause disease, we looked for the genes that you could alter with diet and exercise and some simple just supplements. So it made a big difference to what the product looked like. thinking about the ethics of it.